Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at noon starts now.
Happening today, the sons of legendary Michigan coach Bo Schembechler is set to reveal what his father knew about sexual abuse by Dr. Robert Anderson. Plus, the city of Detroit reveals its plans to control crowds after an increase in violence downtown. But we want to get to breaking news that we're following here at noon. Ex-Michigan State University's basketball star Keith Appling faces a judge on murder charges, and another domino falls in the UAW corruption scandal. That tops our news here at noon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Evrod Cassamy for this special edition of Local 4 News at noon on clickondetroit.com. Former UAW President Gary Jones learned his sentence today in the ongoing corruption scandal. Just last year, Jones pleaded guilty on charges of embezzlement, racketeering, and tax evasion, admitting to working with 6 other UAW officials to steal union funds for things like golf, cigars, and clothes. He stepped down as union president in 2019 because of the scandal. Well, today a judge sentenced Jones to 28 months in prison. Also breaking at this hour, former Michigan State basketball star Keith Appling is formally charged with murder. Appling was seen here during today's Zoom arraignment, pleading not guilty to first-degree murder and 3 firearms charges. This is all in connection to the May 22nd shooting of 66-year-old Clyde Edmonds on Detroit's west side. Appling is due back in court on June 22nd. That's for a probable cause hearing. His bond was denied. New here at noon, the city of Detroit announces a summer crowd management plan after a rise in incidents in Greektown and an increase in drag racing. The plan focuses on increasing police presence and lowering the party atmosphere. Interim Chief James White says Mayor Mike Duggan has authorized 4,000 hours of overtime for officers to work weekend crowd management details. The interim chief says the overall goal is the safety of residents and visitors.
We want you to enjoy our city. We want you to come down. We want you to come in our neighborhoods, enjoy our beautiful parks, but do so safely. Leave your weapons at home. Illegal weapons will not be tolerated. You will be arrested. Drag racing will not be tolerated. You will be arrested. We know we're a destination town. Many of us have wanted this to happen, and it's finally here, but we have to do so responsibly.
The interim chief says the overtime authorized by the mayor will also allow departments to be fully staffed to deal with any emergency calls. Well, in less than an hour, several sexual abuse survivors are set to come forward in the case against former University of Michigan Dr. Robert Anderson. One of them is the son of legendary coach Bo Schembechler. As Local 4's Nick Monticelli shows us, Matt Schembechler is making pretty disturbing claims against both the Dr. Anderson and his father.
Matthew Schembechler was first abused by Dr. Anderson in 1969 when he was just 10 years old, according to his attorney, Mick Raywall. He says Matt told his father, Bo, who went berserk like one of his sideline rants, punching Matt in the chest and saying, "I am not going to hear this." The attorney also says Matt remembers that Don Canham assured his mother, Millie, he would fire Anderson, but was asked not to by Bo. Matt says he was abused again at age 16 during a physical. Today, Schembechler will be joined by 2 former football players at a press conference. Both players say they were abused multiple times by Anderson, and they also say they told Bo of the abuse immediately, and Bo told them to toughen up.
Big decision here.
Their accounts, along with the hundreds of others, fly in the face of what current head coach and former U of M quarterback Jim Harbaugh told the media a week ago. Former running back John Vaughn called those comments heartless and told the Free Press this week it is clear to survivors of Anderson that Harbaugh is against them. Nick Monticelli, Local 4.
Nick, thank you. Again, Matt Schembechler is set to speak to reporters at 1 this afternoon in Novi. We'll keep you posted right here on clickondetroit.com. In other news this afternoon, a 3-year-old is in the hospital after an accidental shooting in Westland. It happened last night on Powers Street, right near Middle Belt and Van Born Roads. Investigators say that the boy found his mother's unsecured gun and accidentally fired it, injuring his hand. Police took the firearm and they continue to investigate. Right now, the boy is being treated at Mott Children's Hospital. Moderna is asking the FDA to authorize its coronavirus vaccine for use in adolescents. The company announced late last month that data showed its vaccine was 100% effective in trials involving more than 3,700 12 to 17-year-olds. Moderna also said that no significant safety concerns were identified and the side effects were consistent with those seen in an earlier trial of adults. The vaccine is currently authorized for adults ages 18 and up. The FDA expanded the emergency use authorization of the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine to include 12 to 15-year-olds. That happened back in early May. The FDA's Vaccine Advisory Committee is meeting right now to discuss what the requirements will be for a vaccine to eventually be considered for use in children under the age of 12. Meanwhile, here at home, the state's vaccination rate sits at 59.9%. And that's of the Michigan residents who are ages 16 and up and have gotten at least one vaccine dose. Later today, we do expect updated coronavirus numbers, but just yesterday, the state reported 257 cases and 7 additional deaths. President Joe Biden and British Prime Minister Boris Johnson met today ahead of the G7 summit in Cornwall. The president's first overseas trip overseas with a strong message of support to America's allies and a vow to stand up to adversaries, including Russia. Peter Alexander has this report from England.
As some of the world's leaders arrive here in England ahead of this week's G7 summit, President Biden greeting U.S. troops in the UK and eyeing that crucial face-to-face with Russian President Vladimir Putin next week.
I'm heading to the G7 and then to meet with Mr. Putin to let him know what I want him to know.
Mr. Putin already appearing to test President Biden with new reports that a Russian court banned the political movement led by jailed opposition leader Alexei Navalny, likely with Putin's blessing. The latest in a series of disruptive moves by Russia, including the rise in ransomware attacks like those on the U.S. beef and gas supply.
The United States will respond in a robust and meaningful way when the Russian government engages in harmful activities.
Still, the president insists the U.S. is not seeking conflict with Russia.
We want a stable, predictable relationship.
Ahead of that meeting, the president's mission here to repair America's frayed relationships with its allies after 4 years of former President Trump's America First agenda. President Biden looking to enhance the special relationship with the UK and Johnson, who is friendly with Mr. Trump. Following 3 days of summit meetings, the president will be hosted Sunday at Windsor Castle by the Queen. Then in Brussels, meeting with the EU and NATO, an alliance Mr. Trump threatened to quit. In his first meeting today, President Biden is really hoping to fortify that special relationship with the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, but it's already complicated. As a candidate, Joe Biden referred to Johnson as a physical and emotional clone of former President Trump. There is at least one key issue on the docket for the two men today as they discuss, among other things, an effort to ease COVID-19 travel restrictions between the U.S. and the U.K. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Peter. Stargazers were treated to this pretty cool sight this morning. If you're watching Local 4 News today, you got your chance to see this view from Sky 4, capturing this partial solar eclipse. Every now and then, the Earth, Moon, and Sun come into alignment, and it's what causes this eclipse. The next annular solar eclipse will happen in October of 2023, and it's going to be visible in Central and South America and then parts of the western U.S. Now let's get to Brandon with a look at your forecast on this Friday Eve.
And pretty awesome this morning, right around sunrise. We really enjoyed it and got that great view from Chopper 4. So thanks to our crew early this morning. It really was sort of unbelievable looking. Dew point temperatures. This is a measurement of moisture, humidity in the air, and upper 60s to low 70s. Those are the dew points we've had the last few days. The higher the numbers, the more tropical it feels. But look at these 40s and 50s over southern Ontario. And some of that slightly more comfy air is trying to sneak in with east winds today. So north zone off of Lake Huron and east siders feel a little bit more comfy today. Still a real warm and muggy day for many. 80 degrees right now in Pontiac, Mount Clemens at 80 as well, 81 Howell, 82 Metro Airport and Ann Arbor. It's 78 Grosse Ile. Again, the east wind just slightly cooler for you there downriver, and not much of a change when it comes to the heat index, but a lot of areas, the farther south and west you are, it does feel 2-3 degrees, maybe 4 degrees warmer, and if you're not careful with lots of water and sunscreen, get yourself in trouble. So don't do that. 86 degrees, a little less muggy. Any shower chances mainly in our west zone, the east wind just pushing everything to our west, and that's where we could see some afternoon action firing up. A little more haze and fog overnight, 67 degrees. A little warmer and more muggy Friday, so 88 degrees. That just promotes slightly better chances for those Floridian pop-ups that we've been getting this week. Hit or miss, I get it. I need a little something right here in northeastern Wayne County. We haven't gotten much, but you can see even the clouds are really developing out west of US 23 and just a boundary area here that will, again, fire up a couple of showers. Computer model isn't real convinced it's going to be anything really big and just hoping you get a little something, but the Local Forecasters app is always your best weapon and tool. If you're heading out this afternoon and need to dodge any of those showers, just take a peek. And then tomorrow, again, it's a little more warm and muggy and slightly better chances for some afternoon, early evening showers as the Grand Prix on Belle Isle gets going. Again, most of the day is dry, just sweaty. And Saturday afternoon, a little frontal boundary comes through, bringing an hour or two of some unsettled weather, but not a washout. And it means for more comfortable weather Sunday as they wrap it up on Belle Isle for the Grand Prix.
All righty, Brandon, thank you. The pandemic sent the use of computers and digital devices through the roof. We know that. And as we go back to more in-person interaction, it might be tough for some of the kids to break their habits. Hank Winchester gives us some expert advice on how to create a healthy balance heading into the summer.
Computers and iPads, they were certainly helpful during this last school year as many kids were learning virtually. But now summer's here, so how do you get your kids to put down those devices and focus on each other, on interaction? We have important advice for you this morning. Virtual learning, video calls, Roblox, and YouTube. Many children spent a lot of time staring at screens during the pandemic, during the school year. And now parents are hopeful that their children will power those devices down this summer.
Be thinking about, are we moving our body? Are we getting outside? Are we having real life human connection?
Katie McPherson is a digital wellness consultant. She says getting them involved in activities is a great way to start.
If you're working, scheduling some summer camps, some activities, some things in the house, chores.
Experts recommend setting limits and getting your children involved in that conversation. McPherson says even if you ease up on some things during the summer months, it's important to keep the rules for cell phones and tablets moving forward.
No devices in the bedroom or bathroom, and sleep is essential. So even though it's summer, maybe they get to stay up a little later and play video games and stuff, but we're still taking devices and putting them on a central charging station.
And remember, set a good example. Your kids are watching you. The American Academy of Pediatrics says if adults cut back on screen time, kids are more likely to follow suit.
I have to be really careful about dedicated and protected time, like no phone at the dinner table, no phone after 9 p.m., it's off my nightstand. You have to be a good role model.
And try to keep in mind that not all screen time is created equal.
If you're looking at screen time over the summer or worried about screen time in general, I'd be asking, what is the content, what is the context of what they're using, and what is the connection that they're making?
And McPherson recommends that children over the age of 12 only spend up to 2 hours a day either on their phones, the internet, or playing video games. And for those under the age of 12, no more than an hour. I'm Hank Winchester. Help me, Hank.
Thank you, Hank. And that's it for Local 4 News at noon here on ClickOnDetroit.com. We hope you join us on Local 4 for Local 4 News First at 4.